It's that time of year where I do my State of the Collection video. I've done this video in past years, and I'll link that in the description below. 2023 has been an interesting year for watches for me. The collection has whittled down, but perhaps gone up a lot in value, to me at least. Let's start with one of the coolest watches that's entered my collection, rather the coolest watch. This is the G-Shock DW6900, the Hodinkee and Ed Sheeran collaboration. I positively adore this watch, and despite it being a lot more flashy than anything else in my collection, this gets a lot of wrist time, perhaps because I am an Ed Sheeran fan, and second, the light button is tremendously simple to operate by just pressing that G button over here. The second watch to enter the collection this year was the Blancpain and Swatch, the Scuba 50 Fathoms Antarctic Ocean watch. Now, I initially started out with the Indian Ocean watch, and while I did love the pop of green that that watch provided, truth be known, I knew I was going to get a lot more use out of the white and gray version of the watch, so I changed them out, and now I have the Antarctic version, which has just come in. Finally, the big boy piece of the year went to the Rolex Yacht Master. I just picked this watch up a few weeks ago, and I absolutely love and adore this watch. I love the fact that it is a subtle steel and platinum watch, and it fits so well on my wrist. This watch, much like my Patek Philippe Calatrava, is going to be given to my next generation, and it will join the other watches that have been handed down to me. Speaking of which, my late father's Omega DeVille is in for servicing. It usually goes in for servicing about once every 9 months to a year. Fortunately, Omega covers me with a 2-year warranty, so I don't have to pay the exorbitant costs of servicing a family heirloom. Speaking of family heirlooms, this remains in the collection. This is the Tudor Oyster Prince Date Day, a watch my father gave me when I was a very young lad, and a watch I still wear to this day, especially on days that have sentimental remembrances for me, like perhaps his birthday, perhaps my birthday, and things like that. I do pull out this watch. Moving along, a watch that goes with me on virtually every trip I take, especially every international trip. This is the Casio Duro, the MDV 106, and this watch is a watch that I use first of all for diving, and I am a diver and all water activities, but I also use this watch while going through airport security, as I don't like to have to take off a very expensive watch and either put it in my bag or put it in a bin. This watch is absolutely amazing on multiple levels. Next is probably what I consider the flagship, or at least my flagship of the collection, the Patek Philippe Calatrava 5196. This is a watch I purchased a few years ago, brand new, and it gets a tremendous amount of wrist time, despite being the polar opposite of the Duro. It features a meager water resistance, but the look of it, let's be honest, is so timeless, and the slimness of the watch. It's not ultra thin that looks thin for thin's sake. It's perfectly proportioned. The lug-to-lug dimensions, the slimness of the case, all work together. Next up is this watch. This is the GM 2100, the follow-up to the GA 2100 series from Casio. Truth be known, ever since I got the Ed Sheeran and Hodinkee version, as well as the Casio Duro, this watch gets virtually no wrist time. There's my IWC, my favorite watch of the collection. This was a love at first sight watch when I first saw this watch at the authorized dealer and purchased it. This watch, as you can tell, has got many signs of wear, and it is the most worn watch on my wrist. There's a few reasons. Number one, of course, is IWC, which I think is a tremendously cool name to wear, and it's not as ubiquitous as a Rolex. However, people who know do understand IWC. Second, I'm a big fan of La Petite Prince, and this is the edition La Petite Prince. Next, I'd like to go to my clock, my Chopard clock. I acquired this clock last year, and I love looking at it on my desk. The intricate details of the dial are tough to capture, but it does look stunning, like something only Chopard could produce. Further, this clock has an alarm, and I use the alarm a fair bit, especially when an important meeting is coming up to remind me of that. I also have a watch I found in one of my old drawers that I've actually moved into rotation this year, the Calculator watch from Casio, this time humorously on an Artem Watch Strap, a watch strap that costs literally 4 or 5 times, if not more, the cost of this Casio Calculator watch, being that the original strap had basically withered away. There's the watch collection for 2023. Now, what are my plans for 2024? The first one is something I didn't accomplish in 2023, not because I didn't get it, but because it's no longer being made. The Cartier Solar Beat watch. This watch, I don't know why. I know it had all the problems in the world, but I want it. And if Cartier ever comes out with it again, I've got 3 authorized dealers who have been told to call me the minute they see this watch. And I don't care if I have to buy all of them. I just want the watch. The next thing I'm working on is a PS Unique watch. And that's for a milestone that I'll be celebrating next year. That watch should be in hand, and I hope you stay with the channel to see me give a review of that watch. What left the collection this year? Well, a couple of the Citizens I bought left the collection. They were spec monsters. They were absolute spec monsters. The Tsuyosa in particular. However, the straps of those, or the bracelets I should say, of those watches just were not comfortable. The next one that left my collection was the Doxa Sub 200. Why would I get rid of Doxa, especially in that aquamarine color? Well, truth be known, it became kind of a fashion watch for me, being that if I was to use a backup watch on a dive, it would probably be the Casio Duro. And let's be honest, as just a recreational diver, even the IWC on an Artem strap could go to the depths I go down to. So it really just became a fashion choice, and truth be known, in the aquamarine color, and I know you're supposed to get Doxa in orange, I just didn't like the orange with my skin tone, but in the aquamarine color, it's very hard to read. Would I buy another one? Perhaps, because I know it's a fashion watch now. And the last watch that left the collection was the Tudor Black Bay 58925. That was the sterling silver version, and I've done a video on it and how it tarnished, and I just didn't like the tarnish effect of that watch. So all these watches I've moved away from. I've either given them to someone who's showing an interest in horology or who has a watch collection. That, in a nutshell, is the complete state of my watch collection, as well as a short preview of what I expect to purchase in 2024. Thank you so much for supporting me on my horological journey. I hope you stay with the channel to see how this journey continues to grow. Thank you so much, and have a lovely holiday season.